Welcome to Chromatic Roses, where a couple of Midwest women cultivate a community at the D&D table. I'm Caitie.
And I'm Soren. And this week, we are reading sections from D&D Reddit, Am I the Asshole?
Yeah. So I have r/D&D AITA up, and I have done no work to prepare for this, aside from pulling it up.
Going for it.
So we are reading blind to you currently, reacting to these Am I the Assholes? If they suck, they won't be in it.
So you won't be hearing it.
Yeah. So I don't know. We're just going to try to, we haven't put a large amount of boundaries on this episode aside from we're going to try to stay within an hour. So I don't know how many we'll get through. I don't know how many we'll get through. I don't know how long we'll stick on each one.
Yeah.
I think the main thing that we're going to try to do is determine if the original poster is in fact the asshole.
Yes.
That's
and
the main
probably
thing.
Add a little bit of our own commentary. But
right. But the main goal is to answer the question, am I the asshole?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, here we go. This one's pretty short, actually. This was posted 5 days ago also. Am I the asshole for kicking my friend from my session?
Oh, no.
So before I get into the story, here's some context. I recently bought a D&D Essentials kit, so after gathering some players, we decided I would DM for the group, and the first few sessions were great until my other friend wants to join. So I say, sure. Okay. The session we had today broke our friendship. So the last few sessions, my players got worse and worse. I am reading through a lot of grammatical and...
yeah. Oh, I'm looking at it now.
Okay. So sorry, I'm going to read it as it's written. The session we had today broke our friendship. So the last few sessions, my players got worst and worst, not listening, playing on thyrphones whilst I'm trying to help them, and laughing during serious moments and screaming.
Okay, there's a lot of context we don't have now.
Yeah. Today, an argument started, and he called me an asshole after me asking them a few times to be quiet and focus. So he has done this many times, and I snapped. So I told him that I was not inviting him to the next session, and I packed away my stuff and left. One player thinks it's justified what I did, but the other 3 left and are on his side. So am I the asshole?
I am going to read a couple. Oh, they said their phone was dying while they wrote this. So that might be why there were some of the funky bits. Well, what does he do and how did you responded? That was one of the
This is wild. This particular thread is
why is it his fault?
Chock-a-block full of wild things.
Players... Why is it his fault that the other players are on their phones?
But everyone was on their phones, including him.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of context that's missing from this one.
So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to boil it down.
Yeah.
So basically, based on what this original poster has said, they're new to D&D, everybody.
Yeah.
And they are distracted while playing. They're kind of not focused, it sounds like. They're on their phones, they're laughing, they're not paying attention, and he's been trying to get them to focus. They have been trying to get them to focus. And after so many times of asking, one of the players were like, hey, you're being an asshole. Let us do what we want. Yeah. And the DM is like, no, bye, and packed up their stuff and left.
Right.
And one player at their table is like, yeah, no, you're justified for that. And everyone else is like, that's not cool what you did, and think the DM's the asshole. So without much context, here's what I'm going to say. It sucks to be trying to say something and constantly be talked over or feel like people aren't paying attention.
Yeah.
So if you are at a table and you as the DM are trying to get something going and your players are consistently sidebarred and having like side conversations and looking at their phones and whatever, you are not the asshole for trying to get them to focus.
No.
However, the other side of this coin, I think, is that the other players, it is their game as much as it's your game.
Mm-hmm.
So the question that I might ask for context for my players is, hey, y'all don't really seem to be into this. So do you want to keep playing or do you guys just want to hang out?
Yeah, this sounds like, without extra context,
Right.
This sounds like mismatched expectations.
Yes.
This
right.
sounds like DM is maybe taking it more seriously than group of friends that want to play. And that happens. We see that happen all the time in D&D, but I agree with Caitie. I would ask the question, do y'all just want to hang out or did you actually want to play D&D? Because I'm happy to lead the group, but not if I just get treated like this constantly. You know what I mean? So
yes, I agree.
I don't think you're an asshole. I just think you need to communicate with your friends and they need to communicate with you.
Yeah. I think at this point, the sidebar needs to happen where it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on, because that one was what? Am I the asshole for speaking up? Well, sorry, peeking up when I didn't enjoy a campaign? Okay, backstory of the group. The core is about 5 players who have been playing together for more than 3 years.
Okay.
2 people have gained long-term significant others, and they have also joined the group.
So SOs have come in 2 groups, so we have 7 now. Right.
2 people have gained long-term SOs. Yeah, so out of 5 players, 2 of them have extra people, so 7, very wholesome, but that does make our group larger as well. The group has played Strixhaven once before, and we ended up not finishing it because the DM didn't have time to prepare session with their work-life balance at the time.
Sure.
We spent several sessions with him preparing at the table after he was already late.
Sure.
So we took a break, and we knew we would come back to it. Okay. So the group grew. The DM has a lot going on and is sometimes late, which seems to be the fact that they said already late makes it feel like the lateness is a point of contention. Yeah. And then the fact that he was not prepared was a second point. Okay.
Yeah.
The issue has arisen with his second attempt to DM Strixhaven. The 2 SOs did not play the first time.
Sure.
He has not DM'd any other campaign. We are about 4 or 5 months in and are still on year 2. We meet weekly, minus a few holidays. That's impressive.
That is impressive.
Me personally, not having a lot of fun. Mostly enjoying my character. So I told the group that I wasn't having fun. And the sentiment was met with the same thought of we enjoy our characters but could take or leave the story of Strixhaven. We all agreed that we didn't really like the story either. Or we didn't really have a story either. It was put to a vote, and we decided as a group to finish out the school year and then move on to a different campaign. The original plan was to do another player's Witchlight campaign. That player has decided that they aren't ready to do it and that I should DM something else instead. As the group's normal DM, I don't mind this. However, the Strixhaven DM believes the narrative now is that I ended his campaign to start my own.
Oh.
I've expressed this isn't the case. I've tried to give him helpful advice like making us crawl through a whole dungeon to see and NPC one-shot the dungeon boss isn't a good idea or practice. I'm not sure I understand what that means.
You might have to break that down again.
Especially when that's the only combat in the dungeon. Okay, I tried to give him helpful advice, like making us crawl through a whole dungeon to see and NPC one-shot the dungeon boss isn't a good idea or practice. So it's not a good idea or practice to make us crawl through a whole dungeon.
Oh, an NPC one-shot the dungeon boss.
Oh,
like, to see
a non-player character one-shotted the dungeon boss.
Yes, so there needed to be no D and a comma.
Got it. Okay. Grammar is important, especially when that's the only combat in the dungeon. So they crawled a whole dungeon. There was no other combat, and then an NPC one-shotted the boss.
I did it.
Yeah. He ignores my advice by not answering my text, but in game will ask me for advice, such as asking which check he should use when something happens with a player. So,
Sure.
am I the asshole for speaking up that I wasn't enjoying a campaign?
I don't think so, and I will. This is my presentation to slightly justify.
Okay.
We can't know what your actual relationship is like with this person, so there's a
Right.
chance that I'm so sorry, friend, you might be the asshole, and we just don't know you well enough. But
Yeah.
based on the information you've given us,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay to speak up when you're not enjoying a campaign.
Sure.
However, a contextual question that I would love to ask is, did you voice this not enjoying the campaign to the whole group in front of everybody?
Right.
Because in my experience in these 30 long years, people don't always like being put on the spot like that. So my question and my full answer kind of relies on, did you take the DM aside and talk with them about this, or did you just open up the
Open
room
it
and
up.
say, hey, I'm not really having fun. What about you guys? You ready
Yeah.
to do something else? Because then
Yeah.
I can totally see someone being like, okay, you closed my
That sucks.
campaign so that you
Yeah.
could do another one. Got
Right.
it.
I also would ask, it sounds like there's some built up resentment around this Strixhaven DM about his lack of prep and being late and like not moving very quickly and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Could we have talked to the Strixhaven DM about the flow of the campaign
Yeah.
before we just decided we weren't having a fun time with it? I get that everybody is on the same page, that like we're all actively not having a lot of fun with it, like we're kind of over it.
Yeah.
And it is unfortunate that the turn of events is somebody else was going to DM a different campaign, but then they decided they weren't ready for it, so it became you, which does draw a very unkind line that you started this like revolution of the D&D game, and then you get to take over from there. That does kind of suck.
That does feel a little like usurpy.
Yeah. So I think it sounds like, as long as you tried to like solve this with the current DM first, you are not the asshole. But if you led a revolution undermining the current DM without having talked to them initially, then maybe a little bit you're the asshole.
You're the asshole.
A little bit.
There's a comment that I saw that I wanted to read. This person comments, from the other DM's perspective, he was informed the group would be voting to end his campaign, ouch, because you expressed you weren't having fun, on which they rallied and agreed. He is now watching as plans for alternative campaigns don't stick, like the person who's like, I'm not ready, meaning y'all could have still been playing his unfun campaign to somewhat of a resolution. While someone fully baked their campaign and got ready to DM. But you emerge as the next DM. I mean, it's not a great look to be the one to spearhead efforts to quash a campaign and to be next to run yours. What if he sees it as a reflection of his DMing? What if he does not enjoy your campaign? Would you be all right if he convinces others to end it? Was the DM part of the talk about not having fun with Strixhaven? When you say finish out this year, were you all still playing to get some semblance of an ending? I think they asked a really good question, which was, okay, so if he doesn't have fun, and then he brings that up to the whole group in front of everybody, are you cool with ending your campaign that's not fun either?
Right. Yeah. Put yourself in that person's shoes. Now, I understand that you're like trying to give advice and he's not taking it and like all this kind of stuff. Like there's some extra stuff in there. But I think this is a matter of respecting people as individuals and human beings and making sure that they're in on what's going on. And it's not just like a coup.
That's the word I was looking for. And that's why I think we need some of those context questions. Without us knowing that, it does look a little like a D&D coup.
Right.
Yeah.
Another guy another. Oh, this is the same poster. Oh,
They
okay. So
responded.
the
Oh, we got
OP
yeah.
responded. He
Yeah.
says, finish out the school year in the campaign, which would be a stopping point, in my opinion. It could be an ending. I'm not exactly sure how the boom presents. It's ending as there are 5 years, and some of them are optional. He didn't voice if he felt it was a reflection of his DMing. He's welcome to speak up just like anyone if he doesn't enjoy my campaign, but I also ask people regularly if they are or aren't. Yes, the DM was part of the discussion. I even had talks with him before bringing it to the group that I wasn't having fun. Then
That's
the
some helpful.
the commenter replies and says, this is tricky, you know? Having been in both positions, I don't want to give a DM unsolicited advice. I respond to any questions they ask during a session when they ask for help, else right or wrong. It's their call.
Right.
I cannot tell from the post if you stepped on this guy's toes. If he has a narrative you ended the campaign to start yours, it's likely he felt differently from what you thought.
Yeah.
Another aspect could be, do you consider yourself the main DM of the group? Is that role easily shared? If it is, how much do you inject you should do this opinions into your game, essentially backseat DMing? And the OP responds and says, I do understand it's a tricky situation. That's why I'm asking. I wouldn't say I'm the main DM only because everyone except the SOs have ran a full campaign or a one shot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. I would say I'm the default if no one has an idea or a thing they want to run.
Sure.
The only unsolicited advice would have been after we went into a dungeon, he made the whole party go unconscious, like on a DC 20 plus con save for a level 8 party. When someone passed, he just made them re-roll it 5 seconds later to wake us up and see an NPC one-shot the only enemy in the dungeon. I told him that was kind of dumb, and on top of that, one player failed it within 10 minutes of us starting the session. So that player spent the next 3 in real life hours doing nothing, and it wasn't even me. It sounds like this is not a great group. It sounds like this doesn't sound, what did he say at the beginning? 5 players who have been playing together for more than 3 years. That's crazy to me because it sounds like nobody's communicating.
Yeah.
I know you said that he was involved and you tried to talk to him beforehand about not having fun, but then how have you been playing for 3 years and not had this problem?
Yeah, and my other question, now that you say nearly everyone except for the 2 that have joined your 5 have run things.
Right.
I can't tell if it's everybody wants to be the director / nobody wants to, the 2 sides of that coin.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and I think the commenter asked a good question of another aspect can be, do you consider yourself the main DM? Is that role easily shared? How much do you interject you should do this opinions into the game, essentially backseat gaming? And if it's a table full of people who have run games,
right? How
much meta pigeon shit are we getting into? You know what I mean?
Right. I also very much agree that they were still on year 2. Let's see, put a vote, decided to finish out the school year and then move on to a different campaign. So did we in fact finish out the school year? Did we come to an ending?
Yeah, that's a good,
I don't know.
I don't know.
That conversation, I feel like with the DM should be, hey, this isn't, we're not vibing with this story anymore.
Yeah.
And make it about the story and not about the DM. And just this story just isn't it for us anymore.
Yep.
How would you feel if we finished out the Strixhaven year and then moved on to a different campaign? And if he responds and is like, oh, that really sucks. I was hoping to do this, that, this, and that. Be like, okay.
Yeah.
Then I would really come to a compromise.
Right. I would love to know what the quote unquote unfun, sorry, bud, DM. I would love to know what his response was to we're not having a lot of fun.
Right.
And just because someone doesn't take your advice doesn't mean they're not listening. Right. And there's a lot that we don't know about this other DM. There was another thought that I had in there. Yeah. The adding that he's late or that he's not prepared. I think that could be a separate conversation. Maybe Strixhaven isn't as fun because this guy hasn't found his stride with preparation.
Right.
So it doesn't even, like, to an extent, it doesn't sound like a mechanical issue. It sounds
Yeah.
like a prep and study issue.
Right. 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 Yeah. So I think I still stand on the like there's some more context required to know if you are in fact the asshole.
Yeah.
But I think the way you've painted it, even with him being involved in the conversations, like you said, he's welcome to speak up just like anyone else.
Right.
Yeah, but if you're in a group and everyone's like, yeah, this isn't fun,
Who
how
is going to fight
uncomfortable
back?
to try to fight back to that. So
Yeah.
like I feel like you are the asshole because there are more things we need to do here. Rather than just usurping and moving on, I feel
Right.
like there needs to be more conversation
Right.
had
That doesn't
or
take care
something
of
like that.
the problem that we can see with this
Right.
block of text.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because what does that do? It sweeps whatever frustrations you've had about this under the rug.
And also just like builds resentment with the
Yeah.
Strixhaven DM. Now he's
Yeah.
just mad and he's not
Yeah.
going to have fun. And it's going to end up with probably either the group disbanding or this guy leaving or, like whatever. Like, I don't think it is doing anything to help your party have more fun necessarily.
Yeah.
Um, and understand also, I think in these kinds of groups, maybe you are a really good DM and you do really good stories.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to have the same strengths. And so like anytime a DM shifts, I think everybody in the group has to be prepared for a change in style, in
Priority.
priority, types of things going on,
Mhm.
types of storytelling.
Yeah.
And it does have to be collaborative in that you constantly are giving and receiving feedback.
Yep.
So maybe that guy needs like sessionly check-ins where it's like, how was today? How did today
Yeah.
go?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
something like that. Like there's just more work to be done rather than you're out, I'm in, let's start over, like that kind of a
Yeah,
thing.
because some of this post is, if I boil it down and stick with stereotypes and like very simple ideas,
Mhm.
this DM sucks, we're not having fun, so I suggested we stop. Everyone
Right.
agreed. No one was ready to DM, so I stepped in.
Right.
That looks
Right.
bad, bud.
Yeah.
That looks bad.
This one is a long context, but there is not a ton of comment at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the asshole for wanting to know why I was kicked from my D&D campaign? I, 30, we're saying non-binary, started playing D&D with 5 friends of mine many months ago and had another friend join in shortly after. This is my 9th time playing D&D 5e, but first time using D&D Beyond. We played a session 3 weeks ago and took a break because the DM, 35 male, needed time off. No issues there. I was asked by the DM if we could talk. Initially, I thought it was to discuss character stuff, but that was not the case. I was asked to be on a trial period because 2 of the players complained about me to the DM. I asked what was the issue, as I am open to resolving problems and conflict resolution. The DM told me, in quotes, "You know what they are. They have communicated them to you previously."
Oh.
I was befuddled and confused and emphasized to him that I did not know what this is about. He then proceeded to tell me that they had messaged me privately and I had told him that I haven't been informed at all. He said I was making 2 players uncomfortable, and when I asked, he would not tell me how. I told him I have nothing to hide and sent him screenshots of all my private interactions with the other players. One player, 29 male, I haven't talked to since January. Another, 30 female, was asking me for advice on knitting. The third, 32 female, was asking me about the job market as I'm considering moving to their state. And the fourth, 34 non-binary, was me offering to pitch in on buying a dice set for one of the other players. He said that he is not happy with kicking me from the game, but he has to think of the other players. I asked if I had said anything offensive in the group chat on Messenger, and he said no. I asked for examples of what I did so I could fix this going forward and asked for feedback from the DM about how I play, and so far I have been ghosted. Am I the asshole for wanting to know why I was kicked from my D&D campaign? And then there's an update. I think I found the reason why I was given the boot, and this requires some context. During a Discord call with friends, a couple 34 male and 27 female, last night, they asked me why I called one of them sweetie a few times. I explained that my cat, her name is Penny, was rubbing against my leg and hopped up into my lap. We talked about how the term sweetie made them uncomfortable and came up with an alternative for me to use the next time this happens. I'm not upset at all with my friends for setting a boundary, as we support setting boundaries. I've had Penny for 6 months, and it was about 3 months ago when she started showing up during D&D sessions. I'm not sure if this is the reason, as I'm still being ghosted, but I have made peace with not knowing what happened. Whoa.
That I'm gonna start, and then I'm sure we'll tangent. I'm gonna start by saying, with all this context, I don't think you're the asshole, and it sounds like you're being iced out.
Yeah, these sound like bad friends.
Yeah, this sounds like we just want to get rid of you. We don't actually want to reconcile.
Right. Yeah. And I'm glad that the original poster has made peace with not knowing what happened, because I don't think you are ever going to know.
Doesn't sound like it.
And I think you've started playing D&D with 5 friends of theirs many months ago and had another friend join in shortly after. I hope that the word friend is being used a little bit loosely here. I hope these aren't people that you consider close friends.
Yeah.
Because like that would be wild. If we did that, if we play with a group of friends and like good close friends, if anybody got kicked from our game and then we ghosted them.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't think any of these people are actually your friend.
I think my contextual question would be, so how long have you been friends with these people? Yeah. I would ask, how long have you been friends? Because this sounds like a group of people that you were relatively new to.
Yeah.
And then they just didn't like a vibe.
Right.
And kicked you.
The update about the pet name Sweetie, I'm not sure how it plays into the cat context. Are you seeing a link there? Because I'm not.
Let me read it again. So I'm going to read the whole update so I can. Yeah. I think I found the reason why I was given the boot, and this requires some context. During a Discord call with friends, couple 34 male and 27 female last night, they asked me why I called one of them sweetie a few times. I explained that my cat, Penny, was rubbing against my leg and hopped into my lap. We talked about how the term sweetie made them uncomfortable. Yeah, I need context. Do you call your cat sweetie? And you accidentally, because that sounds like the link they're trying to make is that they call their cat sweetie, and that accidentally came through maybe in Discord like D&D sessions or something.
Sure.
But you're not saying that, so I can't.
Yeah, right. Did you call one of your friends sweetie, or did you call your cat sweetie?
Yeah, you didn't give a full explanation here. I genuinely want to comment and be like, hi, could you clarify?
Either way, that is wild. To get kicked from a game because you called someone sweetie.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially this person, like, the OP is saying, like, not upset when my friend's setting a boundary.
Right.
That's okay. Right. I've had Penny for 6 months, and it was about 3 months ago when she started showing up in sessions. So then around the time that this happened. Yeah. If I can get more context about that, I don't consider you the asshole. I actually am going to call your friends the asshole. Well, quote unquote friends.
This is the only comment. I don't think you're the asshole for wanting to know, but you may be the asshole for what you actually did.
Yeah.
All I can say based on what you provided, which isn't much, is that all your private convos you mentioned were you reaching out and asking about something. Yeah. Maybe it's unwanted attention. Honestly, no idea though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, me asking for advice on knitting, me asking about the job market, me offering to pitch in on buying dice set. Yeah. So like, yeah, maybe these people are not here. When you say friends, maybe you just mean table mates, and maybe they are not here for
friendship.
They're just here for table mating.
But the DM says, like, you know what they are.
Sure.
Like, the DM says, you know what they are, and they have communicated them to you previously.
Right.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah. And what I will say with all of these, of course, is that we're hearing one very specific side of the story. So
nobody is infallible. Everyone has some kind of bias.
Based on the information you provided, it feels like, no, you're not the asshole. You have not given me any incriminating information that tells me that you made a misstep.
Right.
There might be information you're leaving out. From what you've provided, no, you're not the asshole. But at this point, you need to find a different group, because this group is not the one for you.
Not the one. The thing that like kind of tugs at like my heartstrings is, like, I put myself in this situation. My actual friends would be willing to discuss my own shortcomings with me.
Yeah.
Or would be willing to, like, Sam. If Sam came up to me and was like, hey, you need to leave the campaign. Like, you best believe, and I know that he would be like, here's why. Love you so much. I'm sorry.
Right.
And like, there'd be a conversation. There would be a back and forth.
Right.
Especially like if I was, as this poster is saying, if I was befuddled, if it felt like a blindsiding kind of moment.
Yeah.
I guess what's wild to me is, like, the DM says, you know what they are. This poster is still saying, no, I really don't.
Yeah.
So there's some kind of big old disconnect there.
Yeah. Which if it's truly the fact that they don't want to give you the reasons, if you are actually confused and they are actually omitting the trigger as to why you're getting kicked out, then to me, what that communicates is there is no reason. They just don't like you. And that sucks. But that is the reason why we should just, like, that is done. We're done with that. And we're going to go somewhere else and find a different
thing.
Set of friends. If it is actually that you are confused and actually they know the reason and they're just not telling you, tells me that either they are cowards and don't want to do the confrontation of telling you what's going on, or there is maybe something you're leaving out or something that you missed where they did in fact express a concern to you and you have not registered it.
Yep.
If it is they are cowards and they don't want to talk to you, cool, get a new group. These guys aren't it. If it is they've told you and you missed it, then maybe some self-reflection is in order.
Reflection and working on that self-awareness as best you can.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we roll with it?
Ooh, we shall.
Okay. We're rolling on the current table today.
Okay.
15. What was the last thing to pleasantly surprise you?
So, my mother-in-law came to visit us for the holidays, which is great. And we were talking about various shows and anime that we really like. Mother-in-law's not super into anime, but like she's cool with like talking about all the stuff that we enjoy and watch. So I got on the topic of Frieren. Because I'll talk about it with anybody who will listen. And I asked TJ, go, hey, I know that we don't have, I think it's on Crunchyroll. And I was like, I don't think Crunchyroll's in our rotation right now for subscriptions, but could we like, buy a month of it so we can show your mom like the first episode? And TJ said, one moment. And he left the room, came back into the room, and he came back with the first half of the first season of Frieren on DVD. And it was one of my Christmas gifts.
Neat. That's exciting.
And I actually started crying a tiny bit because The show means so much to me, and I kept telling TJ I want to get our favorite anime on DVD so that we don't have to be beholden to a streaming service of some sort.
Sure.
And Free Winter was like at the top of the list, so I was pleasantly surprised. It was a wonderful gift, and
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
it was great. I love it. Your turn.
Pleasantly surprised.
Was it my Christmas gift to you? I'm kidding.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel like that is true about every Christmas gift you receive generally. It's like, I got a promotion that came with a raise, and the raise was nice and pleasantly surprising. The work that I'm doing is not really changing. However, I am taking on more of it across a lot of different avenues. And when I was talking to my boss about it, she said, we're going to do this, and this is how this is going to work, and like all this kind of stuff, and told me the rate, like the salary. And honestly, because of kind of the state of the company at the moment, I was expecting to not like maybe get like a merit increase, but like not a significant raise.
Bump. Yeah.
And it's like over a 10% salary increase, which is pretty cool.
Caitie, yeah. I hadn't heard you say like that yet. That's so exciting.
Yeah. So she said it. I wrote it down because I was taking some notes on it, and I just kind of like let it continue. And she was like, "Is the salary okay?" And I was like, "Oh, I wasn't even expecting to really get one, so I appreciate it." And she just was like, "Oh no, I was very adamant that if we were going to be giving you more stuff, that the pay needed to reflect that." And I was like, "Is this what a good work environment?
Is this what someone advocating for me feels like?"
Wow. So yeah, that is my. I got Christmas presents that were pleasantly surprising, but that is probably the only non-Christmas present thing that is new recently. So
that was a very cool update. Yeah, I'm very excited for you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, looking at this next one, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Deleted by user. Got it.
You're like, so I am the asshole. Goodbye.
Anyway, am I the actual asshole? Am I the asshole for lying about my actual class to my party for 11 months? So hear me out. My SO was starting a new campaign, and I had the idea to create an Aasimar warlock who pretends to be a cleric of storm, I'm guessing.
I think.
Essentially, the backstory was just built around them trying to be a cleric and not being able to. So they ended up creating a pact with an archfey. So my SO thought it was a cool idea, so he worked with me to find a bunch of ways to make the secret work, and I put in like a week of work to figure out what cleric spells I could pretend mine were, i.e. guiding bolt for witch bolt.
Sure.
I committed to the super holy cleric vibes and never explicitly said I was a cleric, just that I would be the party healer. Everyone else in the group trusted me and fully believed I would do that. The DM and I dropped a couple of hints here and there, but we ended up just outing me as a warlock after 11 months for story reasons, and everyone at the table was caught completely unaware and had no idea and were a little upset. But I'm not sure if it was at me or upset that they didn't figure it out. So am I the asshole for lying to my D&D table for almost a year because I thought it would be a fun idea?
Full stamp. I don't think you're the asshole. I think this is a clever story thing. And if your friends are upset.
Yeah, I'm trying to put myself in that position of being at a table and making this reveal and people being kind of like,
wait, what?
The fuck?
Wait, I just did something like this, but it wasn't about my class. But I was playing in a campaign, just like a starter campaign for some of our friends, and TJ is DMing. And when TJ and I first met and talked about the campaign, I was literally just dropping in for like 1 to 3 sessions to get them going. Some of our friends who are brand new to D&D, some who are well-versed, and who are previously like DMs. So I agreed. And then he came to me and said, also, I actually want you to be like a secret agent for the like enemy that they're trying to discover and fight.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we got to a session where a certain part of the story, like, and like movement, like triggered something for my character. And then my character, like, I said something super spooky, and then I like teleported away, and it initiated combat for the rest of the party. And we were playing on Discord, so I was able to literally teleport and then leave the call. And TJ said the reaction was like, what? And also, fuck her. But no one was mad at me.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, oh shit, like that was so good. Like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So if it's like that.
This feels akin to our conversations that we've had about inter-party conflict and how tension and conflict is interesting. If your table mates are actually angry that you did a bait and switch,
a switcheroo,
I would want the DM to talk to your table or just maybe us talk as a group about how tension and conflict is cool and interesting. And like, to me, that makes them kind of the asshole. If they can't see this for a cool story beat, then that makes them the asshole.
Yeah.
I'm going to read a couple of the same person who gave some pretty good comments in one of our first ones is back again. Zephyr SK. Maybe they're upset because what you bring to the table changes. So they thought you were a cleric. They thought you had cleric spells and restorative magic and all this kind of stuff. And now you kind of don't. And that changes the like combat strategy makeup of the party.
Yeah.
Maybe you held back on some of the warlock abilities for fear they would out you. So like maybe you had some cool warlock shit that could have helped that you didn't use. Maybe they don't appreciate the possibly not quite just a reflavor shenanigans your SODM did to camouflage warlock spells as cleric spells. So maybe your DM gave you extra benefits or let some things slide for the sake of this secret. And that feels like a betrayal. Maybe they're looking back at the missed opportunities you could have bonded by sharing your secret with another trusted party member.
Sure.
Maybe is a mix of a bunch of things, and the group is mostly annoyed and unimpressed rather than outright upset. As a rule of thumb, D&D is meant to be collaborative. Anything that is based on deceit typically ruffles feathers on most tables. It is possible to execute, but there are so many variables to keep straight that I would not recommend it to new groups of players.
Yeah. So, yeah, he used our favorite word. They used our favorite word. D&D is meant to be collaborative. And I agree. I'd be interested to know if the party, is a little upset and there were some cool opportunities for you to sneaky, like, share some little dribbles of what was up. However, what I did in this campaign, like in my instance, what I did was based on deceit, and it did ruffle feathers, but I am friends with everyone at the table, and they know me.
Right.
And so there's a certain level of like buy-in. Like, okay, if TJ asks Soren to participate in this, and we know TJ, we know Soren, if this happens, it's not the end of the world, and there's a reason for it, or there's something cool that's going to happen. So, like, I think you can play with, I think it's fair for him to say new groups or players do not recommend.
Yeah. Yes.
That.
I am looking back at the original post, and there's nothing that says specifically about the makeup of the party, but that their significant other seemed like the DM, it seems like. In that sense, if this were a party of people who just play D&D together, I would say coming out the gate with a year-long lie maybe is bad. But if it's a group of friends that you play together, then coming out the gate with a year-long lie is maybe more interesting. I think of Travis Willingham playing Ford in The Mighty Nine, he started with a different accent. And like there was stuff around that, and like his pact with Uk'otoa and all that kind of stuff. So I like that is interesting to see. What I will say is that deceit didn't actively do a big effect on the party. So like him having a different accent and a little bit the lying about the pact, like, or lying by omission about the pact is it didn't affect anybody. You weren't like masking. He wasn't like masking spells. He wasn't like like pulling this big huge ruse. So I could see this being kind of a problem because it was so all encompassing. You know, like Teedge and I were pulling a thing of deceit with like what we looked like.
Yeah.
And we called ourselves I was still a sorcerer. I still had shadow magic. I still had all those things. TJ was still a cleric. Like it didn't affect our gameplay, but it affected the visual. And in our game, I could understand some people feeling a little frustrated because we're playing as devils, which is who we're fighting.
So there was conflict. Like when we fight, like when all the characters, like, and I mean like inner character conflict.
Yeah.
Like, but I remember when y'all were building those characters, like you didn't give everything away and neither did TJ, but like you gave some.
Yeah, we were like hinting that there's more to this.
Yes.
And the thing that Sam did that lessened any party conflict when we outed ourselves was he had like a really trusted NPC be like a reference for us.
Yeah,
like,
essentially.
The trusted NPC was like, these guys are good and you need to get over whatever you're feeling right now about it because they're good.
Yeah. Because the characters were like being buttholes for a bit.
Well, but you were being buttholes because we were just new. You weren't being buttholes because we were devils. You didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you guys were being buttholes because grief and new stuff.
Yeah.
So
not because lie.
Yeah. The anger was not coming from the fact that we were being deceitful.
Right.
Somebody else said, I don't know, man, Soft, you're the asshole. I can understand why people at your table would feel betrayed by what you did, especially if you kept up the ruse outside of the game too. Great character, and I'm sure the reveal was satisfying, but I think people are valid in being upset about what you did. And the original poster said, super fair. That's kind of how I'm feeling. I feel bad about it still, so I'm going to talk to them and see and let them know I didn't mean it bad. I was just trying to be silly.
See, now that makes me confused. Like, if I'm trying to do a silly lie, I need more context. If I'm trying to do a silly, like, I don't think, if I'm planning it right, and if I'm talking with the DM and like keeping the secret to do some kind of funny reveal or silly kind of switch them up, I don't think a silly switch them up would piss off a table.
I don't think silly is the right word. I think what they're trying to say is, I was just trying to have a fun thing happen.
Yeah, it seems like that.
And the silly thing that I think is in this, the thing that I think is silly, is a couple of commenters are saying, did you also lie to them in real life? Yes, dude, because that if you know in real life, then you know in the game. Like, what? The reveal comes in not
Please
knowing
see our
in real life.
episode about in and out of character information.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like it ruins the reveal.
Yeah.
If I'm telling all of my players above table that I'm making a lie.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
When you were crafting Tizzy and like correct me on whatever correct me if I'm wrong. But I remember you not giving me like all of the deets on her devil form. You were like, this is what she looks like as a human, but And you were sneaky. Like,
yeah, right. That's the whole point. And then it's not a reveal. Like, the reveal is as much for the people at the table as it is for myself at that
right.
point. I don't think that makes any sense. And I would say, again, tension and conflict is interesting. If your table mates are actually upset because you did a silly thing, and by silly I mean fun thing, by making a unique, maybe it shouldn't have lasted as long. Maybe that sort of a deceit needs to resolve quicker and not take a full year to come to fruition. That might be the only thing I'll give you as far as like, maybe you're the asshole, is just that it took you 11 months to make this happen.
That was a bit much, but
if you're meeting even once a month, that's 10 sessions where you made this ruse thing happen, and to what end? Like, what is the purpose of that? But I mean, having a cool reveal and a deceit, I don't think is enough to cause you to be an asshole. How are we doing? This is going to be our last one.
Okay, one more to wrap it all up.
Am I the asshole for being annoying, or are they? An interesting title. I genuinely need to know if this is my personality disorder telling me everyone else is terrible, or if they did something.
Okay, so before you go on, unless this person confirms that they do have a personality disorder, like, I'm going to take some of that neurospicy into consideration.
Okay.
Because there are some, for everyone listening and for anyone who deals with it, there are some things that neurospicy people either struggle with when it comes to social things. This is going to be fascinating.
Okay.
It's not an excuse to be an asshole, though.
Yeah, so true. I play Curse of Strahd with some college friends, and last night we played online. I love playing smooth talking bards. My newest bard is a silver-tongued tiefling gunslinger named Harmony. I wanted her to be naive, but able to talk her way into and out of trouble. Okay, so we're playing with college friends. We played online, so there's going to be some communication things that get lost when playing online.
The Zoom effect.
She's playing a silver-tongued tiefling gunslinger who is also a bard.
Interesting.
I don't know how that works, but
I know, I was going to say
multi-classing, I guess.
Yeah.
That's a weird multi-class. My problem happened a few times. My party members, a human warlock wizard, multi-class, and a demonic paladin sorcerer. We love multi-classing.
We like
in this campaign. Keep jumping in to save me while I'm talking. Here's what happened so far. We killed an avatar of Selune to save our kidnapped NPC friend. I wanted to leverage my new power with Shar to get some kind of boon. My DM told me it could work if I played it right, but not until a higher level, which I was fine with. So I went to a Sharan temple, and my warlock literally carried me back out. The sorcerer cast Hold Person on me. My DM gave me the power I wanted because he felt kind of bad.
Pause.
Yeah.
What's going on with the warlock? Like, that sounds like a character choice, which is fine.
Yeah.
But then where is the pushback to go back to that temple? Sorry, we're not done yet. Continue.
Sure. The crux of this happened last night. My character traded her mercenary services to Strahd for a Necronomicon. Whoa.
Love
important to the warlock's backstory. Talked herself into trouble. In her naivety, she's decided Strahd could be redeemed.
Oh, no.
I was so close to gaining his trust. I protected him from an enemy. I let him bite me and trusted him to let go, and he did. Only in a temple where I was supposed to kill something for him to get the Necronomicon did the party catch up. They attacked Strahd despite my in-game and out-of-game begging. Finally, I was trying to convince my party to at least try to see that Strahd might be redeemable in this game. And if he is, we could save Barovia and have a powerful ally to do backstory quests. But they are dead set on killing him. Fine. I can make a new character, I guess, or change my old one. But then the sorcerer tried to cast Hold Person again. I was talking, and the warlock said, "Shut up, Harmony." And to be honest, it felt more like he was telling me to shut up. I don't know how to feel. TMI, but I was recently diagnosed with a major personality disorder and can't tell my symptoms apart from my real life anymore. Sorry for the rant, but I'm not sure these people are my friends or even like me. And I know no D&D is better than bad D&D, but no D&D is better than bad D&D, but I'm making it bad. But am I making it bad for everyone else? Please be gentle in the comments. I genuinely feel so bad about this.
Ooh, first comment.
Whoa.
First comment is exactly what I was thinking, is there's no excuse for anybody to tell you to shut up when you're explaining yourself, whether or not you have a personality disorder. And like, yes, as out of character, I agree with that. In character, I think that's well within character rights to cause conflict and tension and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack.
I'm going to start with the character choices.
Yeah.
Okay. There's somebody in our party who is constantly making bad decisions. Let's pretend. I'm not saying that's happening.
Right. You're presenting a scenario.
I'm not saying that what this person is doing is technically making bad decisions, but what it sounds like is this character is supposed to be kind of naive. And the original poster says, I wanted her to be naive, but to be able to talk her way into and out of trouble.
Yeah.
So you have cultivated a character that causes chaos.
Yes.
And that's your whole thing. Fine. That's fine.
Yep.
So let's pretend like we are in a campaign with a character who is actively making bad decisions. So we killed an avatar of Selune to save our kidnapped NPC friend, which gave this player a new power with Shar to get some kind of a boon. So they went to a Sharan temple, and my warlock friend literally carried me back out. And then the sorcerer cast hold person. So my question would be, was there any sort of dialogue happening with this?
I need that.
Or did they just do it?
Yeah.
Because if they just did it the one time is one thing. After that game, what I would have probably wanted to do is talk to those other two players and say, hey, I understand that the thing that I'm doing, the choices that I'm choosing to make are risky, but I like that direction for my character.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels bad that you keep
thwarting me.
I was going to say cock blocking, but you keep making it so I can't do the things I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And controlling you're railroading my choices. You're not allowing me to have any kind of free reign over this kind of stuff. If they came back and said, yeah, this is the direction we're trying to go, and you keep trying to divert our plans, then I would want, as the player who's making risky choices, I would need to say, okay, maybe my risky choices are causing problems with the through line narrative of the game. And I might need to rein some of my risky choices in for the sake of like the through line story, if that is the argument being presented.
Yeah.
If it's like, yeah, but you're making bad choices, and as your friends in the game, we would be wanting to try to protect you from those choices. My answer to that would be, okay, I hear you, and I appreciate that perspective.
Yeah.
But in game, that's not what it feels like. It feels like you're constantly keeping me from doing anything I try to do.
Yeah.
And that sucks. So can we find a different way to role play that so that it's not just you stopping me from doing the thing that I'm doing?
Yeah.
And that might be how to solve that. Okay. And then with this whole thing about their like redeeming Strahd, I think that's hilarious.
I do too.
And in that case, is similarly, I would want to have a conversation and be like, hey, they say that they attacked Strahd despite my in-game and out-of-game begging.
Yeah.
So then that's like a whole thing. Like, what is happening?
What is going on in and out of table? And there's like, I had like a side thought that was, okay, this OP really, really feels like redeeming Strahd.
Yeah.
And if you're telling us major personality disorder and you really, really want this thing, is part of what you're dealing with, whatever it is, that you just have to get your way, that you just have to do this one story beat. Is that something that is a struggle for you? Is dealing with not being able to do what you want? Because there are two sides of this. There is literally like oppositional defiance, where you're like, I get what I want, or I throw a fit. And there is, I'm just trying to play this game and have fun. And also maybe some of my neurospiciness comes out in my communication. Like, there are two very different ways that could go.
I'm trying to put myself in this party.
Yeah.
And if I was I would assume the in-game begging would happen first. And then after some time of that and nothing happening, I might stop and say like, okay, wait, above table for a second. Why are you guys so opposed to this?
Yeah.
Like to me, this seems like an interesting like flip of this story.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you're so against going this direction.
Yeah.
And then let them have to that.
Yeah, because like there's a chance, and like there's a chance that your table mates might be better at communicating your character's intentions like out of role play. Sometimes I feel like, you got to get a lot of practice with role playing before you can really start to in character understand what your friend who's a player is doing as a character.
Right.
Sometimes it's easier to just pause it, ask for clarification, and let your friends like explain their reasoning.
And in this scenario, so this is point number 2 where I'm at, and it's the last sentence. Only in a temple where I was supposed to kill something for him to get the Necronomicon did the party catch up. So let's put ourselves in that scenario. I have not played Curse of Strahd.
I haven't finished it ever.
Is the whole thing that Strahd is like the BBEG?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you're in a room with Strahd, and the whole
name
party,
of the game.
the whole party catches up. They haven't been with you this whole time. They catch up to you. Of course, their first reaction is going to be to attack Strahd.
Get him!
Now, you say that there was in-game begging, so I'm going to play that out in my brain as you step in front of their weapons and say, no. We can save, I can fix him. And
literally vampire, what is that? Thrall? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So that could be one thing. They go, you're under Strahd's thrall. Step to the side. We're going to kill this guy.
Yeah.
But even past that, let's put ourselves into a real life scenario. Your friend that you have known for a long time is getting in with a guy. And she comes up to you and says, don't worry. I know he seems like a serial killer. I can fix him.
But he's so sweet.
Right.
That's a trope as old as time, baby.
So you have to accept that if you are, I love the idea of redeeming Strahd. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But in game, you have to know that that's going to be a hard sell to get your whole party to be on board with redeeming Strahd.
Heavy lifting.
And go for it. I love that idea.
Yeah.
But you have to be prepared for everyone to be kind of like, that's probably not a good idea. I don't think that makes sense. The whole thing we've been working towards up to this point has been killing Strahd. We're going to do that.
Yeah.
You're going to have to work pretty hard to get them to not do that.
I'd be interested to know, what is the deal? I'm not familiar with Shar and the Sharon Temple.
So Selûne and Shar are like gods.
Yes.
You experience them in Baldur's Gate. So should you ever play that, that's what that is. Selûne and Shar are like opposites.
Okay.
Selûne is like I'm not going to get all of this perfectly correct. Kind of a moon goddess. She is light and good and protection, and Shar is like the goddess of pain. Like if you are a Sharin follower, you feel like you are supposed to experience pain to get divine blessing, like that kind of thing.
So I'm interested to know how this person's character wound up with this party. It feels like OP's character, like their values might not align with their actual party members.
Yeah, or if it's truly just that this person, this bard Harmony, is chaotic and just like does everything all the time, or gets into trouble on purpose. I think that can work. I think you just have to accept that is you are going to be frequently
opposed,
hitting heads against your other players. Now, this last section where it says they were trying to convince the party to see that Strahd is redeemable, and if he is, like, here's my reasoning, we could save Barovia and the powerful ally. They were still dead set. Even with all of that, they were like, you're wrong.
No.
This is not how this is going to go. They said, okay, fine. I can make a new character, or I guess change my old one. So the question here is, I think this is where we're going to get into, do you want to redeem Strahd because you think it's cool? Or is your character like, why do we feel like redeeming Strahd is the way to go? I agree that it's interesting. I agree that it's funny and like, let's save this vampire, like whatever. I like that. But if your entire party, I'm thinking about the argument I had with Grant. If Grant's like, we should hear out the devil because he might be able to help us out, and my stout religious gnome is like, I'm not even going to humor that. That's stupid, and we're not going to do that. Morally, that makes no sense for me.
Yeah. And for a lot of the other party members, it didn't make sense for them.
Right. So if that's the kind of argument we're having, is like, yes, is redeeming Strahd funny? Sure. But in our campaign, with the way we've built it, that makes none of our characters would ever agree to that. Then you have to ask for your character, is she so here for Strahd that she leaves the party because that is not how she sees things, and then you create a new character? Or is this a turning point for Harmony? You make it narratively interesting. And is this a turning point for Harmony to see like an intervention? Like, oh, I've been like really saddling up with this vampire who is bad on all levels. And I can't fix him. And I need to face that. I don't agree necessarily with the sorcerer then tried to cast Hold Person again.
We don't know during what, though.
I think it's during this last, they were in the temple, they were supposed to kill it. She was supposed to kill something for Strahd to get the Necronomicon. They attack Strahd outside of her begging. She finally stops them, says, no, seriously, if we save Strahd, then we can do this, 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 and this. And they're like, no, we're not doing that. And instead of letting her say anything else, the sorcerer tries to cast Hold Person again. And the warlock says, shut up, Harmony. And they continue doing what they were doing. And at this point, the player is starting to feel like they're attacking her and not the character, is what it sounds like.
Ooh, I'm going to eat some of my words.
Okay.
I'm going to make a clarification. Because this commenter makes me feel like the commenter is projecting. There's no excuse for anybody to tell you to shut up when you're explaining yourself, whether or not you have a personality disorder.
Right.
The way OP is talking about it, this was all in-game. This was all character. And we have several episodes where we talk about feeling like you're being communicated with. Attacked, not your character is being attacked. And this is a direct, this is bleed. It's straight up bleed. And I'm sorry, because it doesn't feel good. It's not fun.
Right.
With the information they've given us, I don't think they're an asshole, but I really agree with everything Caitie's throwing out of like, you have to consider you have to, listen to the story that you're telling together. Like,
Right.
your characters aren't going to make that decision. You're not winning them over.
Right.
So what do? You don't
Right.
pitch a fit. Like,
Right.
you've clearly tried to, and it's not
Right.
working. So
Right.
it's time to
Pivot.
pivot and let the
do something
story
else.
continue. And they did. They stopped
Right.
you.
Uh-huh.
And who knows what happened next, because you haven't let us know.
Right.
But move on.
Yeah. There is a commenter here that says, I think the main problem is that you want a different game than the other two players who seem to get annoyed by your character concept.
Yeah.
They definitely move into asshole territory with going PvP. Yes, casting spells on other players is PvP, even if they don't do damage.
Yeah.
And talking over you. But then again, you have to see that you don't only bring your character into trouble, but everyone on the table.
Yep.
You guys should seriously take a break and talk about expectations of the game out of character.
I agree.
One way you could go about it is generally is just going out of character, explain what your character is thinking, and if the others are okay with them doing whatever you thought about doing. But seriously, time for out of character discussion of what play style everyone is after. And the OP response says, thank you for the reply. That's helpful. I will ask for an out of game discussion. I'm also changing my character at the very least.
I think that's a great idea. And I think those are very grounded and helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, like, further eating my words, like, I don't think, without knowing OP, without knowing how they act in the game,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that the personality or disorder is the issue.
Yeah.
It must suck trying to deal with that diagnosis while also playing a game with friends and not really knowing where the line is, and like having it all blend together. But I think I don't think you're the asshole. I think you need some time to sit with your diagnosis and like sort some of that out.
Yeah.
And I think that's totally okay.
And I like, to the original question, am I the asshole for being annoying, or are they?
Yeah.
I don't think either of you are being annoying at this point. I think you have a different idea of where you want this to go. And I will just repeat what I said before. I think you have some interesting ideas, like redeeming Strahd is interesting. But if you have tried to act on that idea and the rest of the party isn't biting, then you have a decision to make. It is not, the option does not include continuing to try to punch this idea into the game because you think it's cool.
Because then it becomes annoying.
Yes.
Then it becomes like unbearable.
Right. So then your options are, one, does Harmony leave the campaign, leave the party because she has a different idea of what should be happening and it does not vibe with this party? And then you pick a new character. Or two, you give Harmony a character evolution that brings her around to feeling more harmonious with the rest of the party.
Yeah.
So maybe she lets go of this like Sharon. It's like Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate. So spoilers for a little bit for Baldur's Gate. There's like a redemption arc for Shadowheart. Shadowheart is Sharon, and she is really reserved about that because people don't look kindly to Sharon followers and stuff like that. And so there's like a redemption thing that can happen with Shadowheart. So maybe Harmony gets her own redemption arc that is bringing her around to this other side of things. And if that doesn't seem interesting to you, then I think the other option is the way to go, where Harmony is like, nope, I'm going to go do my thing over here, which is Sharon and redeeming vampires and whatever. And you guys do your thing because I can't abide by killing this vampire who could be redeemed. And she leaves. And then you bring in a new character.
In your post, it sounds like there's some, I get it. There is some hidden like resentment and not understanding if my friends are mad at me or if the characters are mad at me and where that all bleeds together. So yes, I agree with Caitie. You just got to make the choice and then like deal with the choice.
It doesn't sound like that your friends are mad at you. It sounds like your friends, you gave like 3 total examples, and each example, it sounds like your friends are trying to keep your character from making bad choices. They're trying to protect their in-game friend. And it has nothing to do with you out of game. It will have something to do with you out of game if you keep trying to push your own agenda without having conversations.
Without communicating with your party.
So that out of game conversation, I think, is necessary at this point.
Yeah. Hey, super cool option you could go with for Harmony is she moves to Sunnydale, California, and creates her own little guild of vampires and
saves all the vampires,
runs the town amok.
Saves all the vampires and makes excuses for why they're just misunderstood and not evil at all.
LOL. That's for you, Caitie. That's it for us this week. Thanks for spending time with us today, and thanks to Noah Trumbull for the use of our theme music. There's a link to his Instagram in the episode description, so be sure to give him a follow and stay up to date on his band and music.
If you are enjoying the show, there's a few things we would really appreciate it if you would do. The first one is leaving us a review. You can leave us comments. You can give us 5 stars on Spotify, all those things. I think on Apple Music, you can actually say stuff about what you like about the show, and that's cool. Second, you can follow us wherever you get your podcasts so that you can get to our episodes easier. Smash that like button. Hit the subscribe, follow us on Spotify, all those good things so that you get notified when we have new episodes. And then lastly, you can also follow us on social media. It's Facebook and Instagram that we are active on. And we post things about episodes dropping and if we're ever streaming, which maybe we will. Hard to say. And yeah, come hang out with us over there.
We want to hear from you. Have we said it enough? Did something come up in today's conversation that made you think? Or do you have a topic that you want to hear from us next? You can always send us an email or a DM. If you're going to email us, it's going to be chromaroses@gmail.com. That's CHROMAROSES@gmail.com. And we'll do our best to respond to you. We can't wait to hear from you, as always.
This has been Chromatic Roses. I'm Caitie.
And I'm Soren. Mommy those hobbies.
Okay, love you. Bye.